Well, it is about that time for Ready, Set, Real Estate with yours truly, Lisa Puerto, also known as Super Agent. I'm your host, and we have another information packed episode. I will make sure I stay to my time. I definitely can make this an entire presentation, but I saw something in the news, and so I felt like we should make it a point to discuss it on the show. Although these are topics that I feel we cover in various ways in the show. And it's about being proactive with your real estate. That way, we're not reactive when things happen. So, season 5, episode 12, we'll be discussing real estate deed fraud. Now, before we jump into the show, I want to first shout out my family and friends for supporting my wild ideas. I want to say welcome to those of you who are new to the show. Make sure you say hi, say hello, drop a comment down below in the caption if you are catching us live on our Facebook Watch and YouTube live stream. I'm really excited that we can do this now and so much more to come. Remember, this show is a proud supporter of Real Estate 100 Youth Foundation. If you have not found your favorite charity to support, I suggest you look into realestate100youth.org. It is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that serves to empower and teach children ages 10 and up with real estate literacy, terms, concepts, and careers as an alternate pathway to success. Tons of opportunity to support by way of donation, one-time monthly, or get in touch and maybe host your own real estate youth workshop. I'm excited to say that we will be streaming live as part of the Black Billionaires Club extravaganza. I believe it's their fourth annual presentation, or I would say conference, happening in Atlanta, Georgia, and that is during Financial Literacy Month of April 2020. So we are excited that Real Estate 100 and Ready Set Real Estate will be a part of that financial literacy for the youth. Woohoo! All right. All right. It's funny because I sometimes I think about that and sometimes I can't get it out of my head. Make sure you are subscribed as a loyal supporter, joined for just $5 a month. Listen, this channel is independently run, owned, and operated. And to continue to provide valuable information, we invite you to be a loyal supporter for just $5 a month. That gives you access to our entire online store, discounts on merch, and what I think is a great added value, the monthly real estate webinars that happens every third Saturday of each month. If you can't join the live webinar, do know that you will receive a copy of the replay sent directly into your inbox. Join at lasuperagent.com. Keyword in the product search, loyal supporters, and it'll come right up. Hit subscribe. You can choose monthly, semi-annual, quarterly, or for the entire year. $60 for the year. And you have made a great contribution to our channel. All right. We've got to, shout out our supporters, let our listening audience know that there are tons of opportunities to support, get involved, share. If you care, like and share. Like and share. All right. I am going to be doing a screen share today. So for those of you who are tuning in on a radio podcast, do remember this show is available on replay on our radio podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Breaker, Anchor, on and on and on. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay. Listen up. Listen closely. Listen closely. I'm going to be doing a screen share. So there was an article that was released. And so for a point of discussion here, let's just go ahead and make sure we let our audience know that we are on season 5, episode 12 of Real Estate Deed Fraud. And there was an article that I shared earlier this week. It was a post I made. And unfortunately, there are some communities across the United States that are really being hard hit by the wave and the influx of gentrification that is happening. So, gentrification is active, well, and alive. Some communities are already gentrified. I'm not here to share opinions or positions, but I think we should discuss one of the effects of that when you see an area or community that is being sought after because of the real estate being prime. So, prime real estate, if you have family and friends in a community or area or neighborhood or a state, city, or location that you know just based on how you see the prices, you see development, you see lots of real estate activity happening, you are experiencing gentrification and it is being gentrified. And as a result of that, there are people who end up being displaced out of those communities because affordability then becomes unaffordable. It becomes out of reach for those people who've been in those communities for years, if not decades at a time. And so what has got my attention, or I would say garnered my attention, is, and I'm just going to pull up the date here, October 29th. So not too far. I mean, it's a couple weeks ago. Or yeah, we're still in our early stages of November. One of the things that I noticed was that, yeah, Vivian, you're going to appreciate this. So, hi, Vivian. Thanks for tuning in. And definitely, she says, Brooklyn gentrification, I would say gentrified, right? I will actually be speaking about New York today specifically because this article has something to do with New York. And so I want to make sure we highlight what our fellow New York homeowners, property owners should be doing to be proactive. And if they have found themselves to be victims of fraud, then there's some steps to take. And so, again, as I was prefacing the show, you can really help somebody keep the roof over their head. You can save them thousands of dollars and headache. It is not fun dealing with scams and frauds. If you've ever been a victim, you know what I mean. I myself have been there, and it is not fun. I'm an advocate to my community, both, and it's funny, I'm finding myself in between two worlds. Is I do my youth advocacy work, and then I find myself helping a lot of seniors lately. And one, I'm honored to do it. It's just kind of the super agent providing my service and using my expertise and my knowledge to help. And so today I felt like was a point that we should talk about it and bring it to the forefront, because that's what we have platforms for. So there was an article that was posted by the New York Times, if you caught it, and it talked about why Black homeowners in Brooklyn are being victimized by fraud. And that is something that is very real. And one of the things that I want to discuss here is that for those who are, again, I'm not here to discuss pros and cons and positions, but really we need to look at some of the effects. And so one of the effects right now is, and it has been, it continues to be, I'll bring it up right here. It continues to be that we find people who become terrorized And that's really what has been happening. I remember, and so this is coming full circle for me, because when I spoke, I was one of the guest presenters at the We Buy Black convention last year. I can't believe, time has gone by so quickly. And there were some attendees that were from New York, specifically Brooklyn, and they were talking about the experiences of how people were literally coming to the doors with cash. They were literally defrauding people out of their homes. And here is a story that the New York Times released just a couple, end of October. And so it's brought to the forefront that this is something live and prevalent right now. And it is so rampant right now that New York has set up a fraud alert program. And so I want to jump into that shortly, but let's talk about this headline here that says, why Black homeowners in Brooklyn are being victimized by fraud. It says, deed theft for stealing the title to a house has become a worrisome crime in Brooklyn, targeting rapidly gentrifying communities of color. I wanted to bring that up and give a credit to the author by Kimiko de Freitas Tamura. And she wrote this piece here, and I felt like it was newsworthy and noteworthy for us to discuss what is happening. So in this case, it appeared from reading the story is that, and it says here, it appeared that she unwittingly, Mrs. Bias, who's 54 years old, I should say, 54 years young, was unwittingly duped out of her property for $120,000. So for $120,000, when it says right above that, her property was in fact worth 1.2 million. 1.2 million. Vivian adds that yes, fraud against the elderly, it is very common, and this is why this is something we need to discuss. I think it's one of the ugliest types of crimes. It really rips into me when I see it happen, because it's always our elderly that I'm seeing that they don't have anyone to entrust. Family is either too far, or there just isn't any family or friends or someone close by. And so I have said to myself, I kind of put out this PBA, if you will, a couple of years ago. And I said, I'll be the granddaughter, I'll be the great granddaughter, I'll be the grandniece or great grandniece to our seniors in our elder community. If they need someone to consult before signing any more documents or signing any documents relating to their real estate, definitely make sure you have your team of advisors. And I think a trusted real estate professional is one that you need on your team. Okay. And Vivian adds, she says, yes, they should expose it. They have been doing it for far too long. Absolutely. And that is true. Since we're streaming live on the YouTube, I want to make sure that our YouTube has this information that if you are in New York, and I'm going to pull that up, I'm going to go ahead and stream. And so for those of you who are listening, I pretty much Googled, you can go to nyc.gov, and most of your government agencies for your Department of Finance or Department of Real Estate or those agencies typically end in .gov for your state. So I want to share that with you. If you're someone who is, and if I'm not speaking about your state, do know that you can do a keyword search in a Google and type in your state and real estate department. So type in, let's say if it were Georgia, type in Georgia Department of Real Estate. If it's Texas, type in Texas Department of Real Estate. And then typically what you'll see is the first website will come up. It says .gov. That is the agency that is governing the real estate in that state. Okay, the real estate in that state. That's the governing body in that organization, or excuse me, in that state. All right, so here's one of the things that I want to cover is, one of the articles, this homeowner shared that, she it's one of those things where people said, how could this happen to me? How could this happen to me? And it does happen because when you think you're smart, there are people that are scheming to be smarter than you. And when people are operating from criminal minds, they're willing to think and do things that you will not conceive of doing yourself. And that's how oftentimes this type of crime gets committed. And as we talk about some of the things that you should be doing proactively, let's first discuss right now, for those of you who are living in that sense of urgency right now in those states where there is an active deed fraud alert. As you can see, I'm on the New York website right now, and I'm just going to go ahead. Let me see if I can make my window larger. Yep. Okay, cool. So that's big enough. So as you can see, I'm on the New York City Department of Finance website here, and you have tons of resources available. And you'll notice one of the things when you go straight to the website is this deed fraud alert. It says protect your property from deed fraud. Okay, here's what I can appreciate already about what's happening. That there is a report fraud online. So there's a button. And oftentimes our seniors or elders won't have access to this. So if you are someone who are listening and you're able to help them gain access to online, please do that. Please do that. Remember when we had to get everyone enrolled in healthcare, people were setting up hubs, to get the seniors and get the people who don't have access to computers to get online. Please help them. Okay. Direct them in a way where they can access online computer and walk them through that process. All right. If not, I'm sure there's a by mail option, just like this next segment here where it says, what can you do to prevent deed fraud? And so one of the things we can do actively to prevent deed fraud is to sign up for or register for this recorded document notification program. So listen, if you're in a state, California does not have a notification program per se, but they do have a policy where, I wouldn't say it's a policy, but they do have guidelines that when there are documents recording against a property, they do send a copy of that notice or alert, or it's kind of an alert to the homeowner to say, hey, this document was just recorded. Even if it's something you recorded knowingly, they will send it to you to put you on notice. All right. So pay attention to your mail, especially if you're a property owner, pay attention to your mail. Unfortunately, you will be inundated as a property owner. And this is the things that most people won't tell you and tell you. I like to forewarn my clients and kind of warn them and say, once you become a new homeowner, you do open up yourself to be targeted and be scammed and so much more. So you'll be inundated with mail, which is why I've developed a program and an app that we have in place to help homeowners across the country that I'll share a little bit more about. And it's our Property Owners EDU program, which is I'm really excited about because it's things like this that says what checks and balances or what do we have in place to help our homeowners remain proactive instead of being reactive after the fact and everything has been said and done. So I'm going to go ahead here where it says register for the recorded document notification program, and do notice that I'm on the New York website, and they have a program that you can actually register online to be notified, which I think is great. And this is what it looks like. So for those of you who are listening, it goes to the Office of the City Register. And this is why terms and concepts are very important, because recorded documents get handled in the recordings or what we call the registrar's office or the register office, depending on your city or county. It is referred to the registrar's office or the registry office or the register office of your city or county within your state, and they are the record keepers of those documents recorded for the property in that county. And so That's how you know you are on a legitimate website, is if it's going to the registrar's office or that agency. So on here, it will ask you to plug in your property address. So borough, county, house number, street name, and it will ask you, if you know it, what your block and lot of the property is. Oftentimes that refers to what we call an APN, which is the assessor's parcel number. So if you have your assessor's parcel number and you have that on your tax statement, it will tell you what block, what county, borough, or block your property is located. It also gives you the option to find what they refer to as the BBL. So the BBL would also be equivalent, if you're in a state like California or various other states, the APN number. It asks you for notification options. So select what type of options you would like to receive. So it says receive notification. And then even if you decide that you no longer would like to be notified, you can go back on this website and delete notifications, which will actually disable notifications, disable receiving notifications from the agency. And then it asks you to complete the information as the registrant, right? So you are the registrant of this information. Put your name, contact information, an email to confirm, and there's a certification, and I agree, and then you hit submit, and voila, it's done. So it does give a disclaimer that says, if you do not receive this email within 15 minutes, please verify that you entered the correct email. So it will actually send you a confirmation once you have submitted for notification on their online portal to be proactive against fraud, deed fraud. Okay. So I really appreciate that. Now I want to jump over to California's website. We are dre.ca.gov. This is one of my favorite places to visit. Tons of valuable information. And actually, a lot of these agency websites have tons of resources. There's a lot of literacy. And if you're not a person who prefers to read, this is why I offer my platform, is because I can kind of help navigate you and guide you to where you can get that information and, short PDFs on short information, which is always helpful. So for us, the California Department of Real Estate, also dre.ca.gov. Again, there is that .gov or that GOV reference, which lets you know you are the official governmental agency for that for that organization that oversees, let's say, the laws of the land is what I call it, laws of the land. And notice that there's a list of publications. What I did when I go, you can type in a search bar and you can hit deed fraud and it'll come up. So here it says tips for seniors to avoid real estate fraud and consumer alert. What should you do if you learn that you are a victim of fraud or that there was a document recorded? And so it opens up as a PDF and gives you some information in terms of how you become susceptible to fraud, what types of fraud. And so let's quickly talk about that. I want to quickly talk about the types of fraud. So let's, a lot of information here. So I'm going to use this screen right here just so that we can use it as a talking point. So there are various types of fraud, and that would be in the form of someone, let's say if you're a homeowner in need of funds and you have limited resources, and so you come across somebody who says they will, they will loan you the money and they will ask you to sign certain documents. And in those documents, there's sometimes documents that you may be transferring partial ownership or complete ownership to them. So pay attention to what you're reading, or make sure you have somebody on your side that has your best interest that can navigate reading those documents for you. Again, we don't sign things we don't read. Bottom line, we do not sign things we don't read. Unfortunately, we still do have a population of people that are not literate. So again, if you are someone who is not literate and you are unable to read, but you have found yourself that you've inherited property or that you've managed to buy property, make sure you continue to reach out to people that you can trust to read documents to you. Okay. And if you're ever in the presence of a notary public, oftentimes you need to be in the presence of a notary public to sign documents relating to your real estate, because you have to give a thumbprint. So you have to give that thumbprint. Remember episode 10, I believe, of this season, season 5, I had a guest on. Miss LaDonna Hightower was our notary public who talked about what to expect when getting documents notarized. Okay, what to expect when getting documents notarized, what type of documentation, and what that process looks like. Very important to have a notary public, and do know that if a notary public recognizes that you are under duress or you're not cognizant, you're not aware of what you're signing, it is actually against the law for that notary to sign or proceed with notarizing that document. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you are under duress and a notary is brought out, you can maybe hint to that notary that you're not comfortable, you're not clear, and that should put the notary on notice to not proceed with getting that document signed. Okay. Unfortunately, there's some criminals out here, and I've come across them, I've seen them, and I've dealt with them in various types of transactions where the end result is they end up facing jail time. They have fines, and they lose their licenses for, if they're in real estate or if they're notary, they end up, having to deal with the repercussions of committing a felony. It is a felony, by the way. Okay, so the type of fraud, that's one type of fraud. The other type of fraud is when somebody either forges their signature. There's a forged signature where it quit claims your interest. That when we use that term quit claim, that means you have given up your interest in ownership to that property. That document may be forged, right? So that's one way. Or someone may add themselves to your property. That's another way. And so these are some limited examples, but there are various types of examples of fraud. And the best way is to stay on top of your documents. Okay, stay on top of your documents. As we get ready to wrap this up, again, we are discussing consumer alerts and more specifically real estate fraud, especially as we know right now in areas that are being gentrified are really being impacted by this crime. It is a felony, it is a crime, and you are to contact your local agencies. You are to contact the sheriff's department. And let me get to that. There's a list right here. I'm going to go to the California list where you want to contact your agencies. You want to contact an attorney, and it's typically anywhere from the district attorney's office to your local agencies to the Department of Justice to the Department of Real Estate and a real estate attorney. Okay. And I when it comes to real estate, I like to work with people who practice real estate law as far as attorneys go. If it's a contract, get a contracts attorney. If it's a business deal gone wrong, get someone who deals with corporate or business law. There's very aspects of law. So get someone that experienced that can help navigate this. Do know that if you're in California, I'm not certain of the other states, but if you are found, if it is found that you actually have a valid case against a licensee in the state of California, and a licensee means an agent or a broker who may have defrauded you in a transaction or defrauded you in some way as it pertains to your real estate during a listing or buying or refinance, do know that once you go through the process and you receive a judgment, there is what is called a consumer recovery account that pays up to $50,000 per agent and an aggregate total of claims of $250,000. And so what that means is there is money available for you to tap in if you're not able to receive or be made whole again, depending on what the judgment amount is, court ordered against the broker or the agency. There is a consumer recovery account. And when it comes to fraud, you want to report it as soon as you become aware of it. Don't sit on it. Don't sit on it. Don't sit on it. As soon as you become aware of it, you want to take those steps to report it, do what we call fact finding, and gather as much information as possible. Gather as much information as possible so that you can prepare your case. I'm just going to walk through real quick here so that you can see if you ever have to make a complaint against a licensee here in the state of California, and in some states it may be different. There's actually a section here where you can file a complaint. So let's go here. And what it does, it will actually open out an investigation. The Department of Real Estate will have an investigation opened out. And here it is, file complaint. Notice I keyword complaint in the Department of Real Estate website. And here it says filing a complaint and the process. It says what we can do and what we cannot do. So the Department of Real Estate lists their scope, what their powers are, and what they refer you to do. So in terms of, any payments, damages to be awarded, that is a legal matter, which is why I said seek legal advice, specifically a real estate attorney that is experienced that can help you in that area. Okay, so you can file a complaint online, or you can request to mail in. You can print the form or request the form and mail it in with all your documentation, documenting the scenario or the situation that has resulted in the complaint of the agency or the agent or broker. All right, so that's really important information for you to have, especially again, you may have the ability to save somebody's life tonight. So do not shy away from making sure you share with someone, you empower not just yourself, but your community with this type of information. While I'm online, I'm going to get ready to wrap up. If there's any comments, questions that you'd like to drop in now, do so now. If not, I'll give you a moment because I know I speak faster than you type. So while you do that, let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that back, and I want to introduce to you a awesome program actually provided by Ready Set Real Estate, and it is our Property Owners EDU program. So our Property Owners EDU program, I'm going to drop that in the comments right here. As a matter of fact, I have a banner ready. Oops. Let's see. Remember that we're still doing loyal supporters for just $5 a month, by the way. Okay, lasuperagent.com, keyword loyal supporter. That offer ends December 1st, and then that goes up to $10 a month. So get in while it's at the low rate. And remember, that includes our real estate webinars. So we just did a webinar on foreclosures, and that is an exclusive access for foreclosures, trustee sale, share of sale versus trustee sales. And as a loyal supporter, you have access to that webinar, which is super exciting. I love when I can give you guys something. I love when I can reward you. All right, so propertyownersedu.com is one awesome program that we've developed, and it's actually in its beta stage as an app. All right, so this is a way for you to be completely proactive when it comes to real estate. And this is something that has been created as your own pocket real estate advisor. If you are a homeowner or an heir to a personal estate, there is an option for if you are let me go here. It says choose your plan. It says homeowner ready, existing owner. There's an heir to an estate, a beneficiary trustee, where it's $14.90 per month. Or if you're a future homeowner, there's a buyer option for $12.90, which allows you, your team, to guide you, support you, and get you connected with the right people. Now, listen, I want to open up so you can see what this is about. Property Owners EDU is a way to be proactive when it comes to your real estate. Don't wait until it's too late is what the motto is. So just a snippet. Let's see if I can close. Let's do that. All right, perfect. So let's hide this. Great. So for those of you who are tuning in and listening, just want to share what the Property Owners EDU is. And it was founded as a result of serving countless of homeowners who either experienced a scam, deed fraud, pre-foreclosure, or other as a result of not having a trusted real estate expert to call on for help. How many of you know right now that you could benefit from having your own advisor that is an expert in real estate? Just someone on your team, and just for $9.95 a month, you can have that. And something like this offers protection for planned and unplanned life events that arise that affect your real estate, such as job loss, death, new marriage, divorce, new baby, retirement, or more life triggering events. So notice it says for a small monthly fee, you gain access to advice, educational tips, and support on an unlimited amount of personal real estate issues from trained experts with real estate experience. So notice here, we use a proactive approach so that you don't have to wait until it's too late. Now, what does that include? Your monthly plan includes quarterly reviews of all loans and liens if you have them, a title check, property code violations, search, changes in zoning, scam and fraud alerts, property tax status, and referrals to qualified attorneys and tax advisors in your state. So we are vetting those tax advisors and attorneys, because there are attorneys and tax advisors that will scam you out your money too. We saw that during the financial crisis, how many attorneys were taking people's money and they were not helping them. And so that's the unfortunate part. So again, we vet them so that you don't have to. Now, if you're an heir to an estate, this plan covers beneficiary or the trustee who needs support understanding their new responsibility of ownership. So there's an overview of homeowner basics, resources to preferred vendors to assist with upkeep and maintenance. That's the biggest challenge with when people inherit estates, is the upkeep and the maintenance, because if you've never been a homeowner, you don't know or understand the level of maintenance and upkeep that's involved, and sometimes you don't know who to go to. So this plan offers that. There's a review of all loans and liens, if any, as stated in the previous plan for the homeowners. There's that title check, property code violation search, scam and fraud alerts. As you can see, the same thing that the home ready plan offers. So homeowner ready, $9.95 per month. If you're an heir or beneficiary to an estate where you're a trustee, this will also support you in that. So listen, it says real estate won't be complicated because we're here for you. Your Pocket Real Estate Advisor is without paying upfront fees, large commissions, or retainer, serving all new and existing homeowners. So listen, you want to definitely tune into that, get plugged in. If this is something that you see of value or know someone that can benefit from it, I suggest lock in, because this is an introductory offer through Property Owners EDU. I know 2020, as we get closer to a more public launch, that monthly plan is going to change. So you should be grandfathered in, and do know that depending on your payment frequency, so if you do monthly, $9.95, or 3 months, it's $27.95. There's a what does it say? It looks like it's an 8% savings. If you do a 6 month, you save additionally. And then if you pay for the year, so just for less than $100 a year, you save 15% or so. For less than $100 a year, you get your own real estate advisor that's got your back and your front and your side. I think that's tremendous, tremendous value. All right, so I wanted to make sure we discuss that and talk about that today and do a soft launch. So today is really a soft launch and an introduction to Property Owners EDU. And I'm really excited that Ready Set Real Estate can offer something of value like this for those of you who've been listening and tuning in. Okay, we win together and we got to look out for each other. All right, if there are no questions, comments, or feedback, make sure you are subscribed to our platform, keyword Ready Set Real Estate. Be sure to tune in next week as we continue another powerful and information-packed episode of Ready, Set, Real Estate. Bye.